Thank you for listening to my Postdoc Transformation Show. Maybe you now want to leap out of science and start your own side business as a runway for your better future? Then you will benefit from my free business preparation quiz as linked in the show notes. If you want to organize your marketing and selling efforts, please also subscribe to my new video podcast show, Creating Reorganized. I share my tricks from creating this show, speak with business owners who run a podcast for their business, and learn from podcasting service providers about their tools boosting our businesses. My new video podcast show, Creating Reorganize, will also be a living example of applied industrial and occupational psychology for my students in real life. And now, let's get to this episode. Postdoc Transformation. Postdoc Transformation. Postdoc Transformation. Invest in your postdoc transformation. Welcome to the seasonal show for scientists leaping into business. In every sponsored episode, we are happy to recommend employers of choice for you. Make sure to check your readiness to leap out of science with us for free, as linked in the show notes. For your career transition, we offer customized career transition e-courses and memberships also at graduate schools all over the world. Maybe yours too. And if your university isn't yet our customer, enroll in your free email course for career transition made simple, as linked in the show notes. I'm your host, Professor Dr. Eleonore Soei-Winkels, with my team who is rooting for you. And let's build your postdoc transformation with this episode. Dear Postdoc Transformer, welcome back to our show where we will help you to navigate your PhD life and get ready for your postdoc transformation according to your vision of life. I'm your host, Professor Dr. Eleonore Soei-Winkels, and today we are diving into a crucial topic that can dramatically change your academic life. And the title of this episode is called Reorganize for Your Postdoc Transformation. Whether you are just starting out on your own PhD journey, midway through, or closing in on the finish line, this episode is for you. We're going to break down strategies so that you can reorganize your year, your semester, your quarter, months, and even weeks to help you maximize productivity, reduce stress, and achieve a healthy work life to reduce the possibilities of mental health issues. This is not just theory. This is based on my own experience doing my PhD in neuroscience from 2005 to 2008. I was able to publish 3 papers, win 2 junior research awards, teach 2 modules, and supervise seminar and thesis students. And all of that while I was also managing to go on holidays in the US and Australia by aligning my conference trips with vacation time. And let me tell you, it wasn't by working harder, it was by working smarter. So grab a notebook, sit back, and let's dive into what you can do to reorganize for your own postdoc transformation. Many of you face the following challenge. You need to balance your teaching duties with your research responsibilities. And you're trying to write your papers simultaneously because most of the PhDs know, and a lot of professors do not like teaching, but teaching is a valuable experience. It's probably not well paid, and it can easily feel like a distraction when your PhD deadlines are looming. I know, been there, done that. So that's where smart planning comes in. Instead of seeing teaching as something that competes with your research time, why not make it worthwhile and work for your own research? Okay, so here's how I did it. I wasn't being paid to teach during my PhD. There's nothing good about that. The time before teaching was gone. The time while I was teaching was gone. So I made a conscious effort to align my lecture with my research. I taught modules on cognitive psychology, cognitive neuroscience, and I asked my bachelor students to help me pilot experimental setups for my own PhD research. So the students loved it because they were gaining hands-on experience doing research, and I benefited by getting some of the grunt work done. Whether it was testing out my equipment, writing the research instructions, or even collecting pilot data, I'm saying pilot data. Nothing of that I was able to use during my research or for my papers. But it was the prep work that I would have done anyway, and they were doing that. So it was like catching two flies with one catch. So this approach did not just save me time. I was with the students. I would identify problems early on, fix them, and move forward with a proven system. That really also helped me. It's a strategy that not only saves time, but it also improves the quality of your research. Hey, before we continue, we want to appreciate those who finance this valuable episode for you. And once you have determined your readiness to leap and want to transition into business or industries, then you can enroll in your free email course with 10 actionable, bingeable email lessons until you start your job in business. You'll get 10 emails like this. Number 1, how to leap out of science. Number 2, how to build your sustainable LinkedIn profile. Number 3, how to read social media and network. Number 4, how to research your favorite jobs and employers. Number 5, how to do informational interviews to get insights. Number 6, how to create your customized applications with ChatGPT. Number 7, how to prepare your thesis from a business point of view. Number 8, how to apply to your favorite employers. Number 9, how to choose the right job offer. Number 10, how to prepare for your new job. Let's hold that thought because I want to share with you my best marketing agent. Serving my underprivileged, underrepresented, and underserved audience, leads, and clients is key for me as an Asian working mom, business owner, and professor in Germany. But I can't be marketing and selling all the time, and I have to be mindful with my own resources. So I chose Podbean as my podcast hosting and monetizing provider. I'm on the Unlimited Plus plan for our PostdocTransformation Show and Creating Reorganize show. With Podbean, your audience can inclusively listen and watch your podcast according to their visual and auditive needs. You can also embed your customized podcast player on your external website or use one of the beautiful website templates. You can easily share your podcast on all major podcasting directories, which allows you to reach a huge audience on their favorite devices in their countries. Podbean also has an ads marketplace, and you can easily attract and manage sponsors for dynamic ads, which are played out depending on your audience criteria. This way, you can serve your audience for free. Some of them become your clients eventually, but your advertising sponsors independently support you financially in each episode. See insightful stats per demographic and which episodes attracted most listeners so you can tailor your future episodes for your leads and clients and present suitable external ads. If you want to try Podbean for your own podcasting, DM or email me Podbean so I can share my experience and consult you. Please check it out via my link in the show notes. I only get a small financial reward if you become their customer using my Podbean link. After this quick appreciation of our sponsors, we are now back in our insightful episode. So, how can you do that? Let's think about it. How can you create a collaborative assignment so that your students can work in groups on the tasks that I have just alluded to? Assignments that involve both teaching and research elements. For instance, you could develop a project that requires students to analyze existing research data while exploring a concept that is specifically related to your work. If you have already data, let them play around with that. Or if you're still in the very early phases of your research, you can ask them to find the relevant literature and provide literature synopsis. Them identify possible questions, or let them review your paper in draft so that would improve your paper. This way, they can learn crucial skills and you gain valuable insights for your own analysis and work. So here's my prompt for you to reflect. Take a moment to think about your own teaching schedule. Are there any ways to overlap your teaching duties with your research? What kinds of tasks could you delegate or adapt for student involvement? And as we're talking about building your teaching skills aligned with your PhD goals, you may find our previous episode also helpful for after your PhD. That is business roles, requirement teaching skills, as linked in the show notes. And just a small teaser, teaching skills are also leadership skills and communication skills. That it really is a skill that you want to build. And I already said in the introduction of this episode that I did my vacation around scientific conferences. Okay, so here's my pro tip. If you want to become a scientist, you need to also disseminate your research on scientific conferences around the world. And if you have identified, probably with your supervisor, which conference you want to attend, you have to submit an abstract or a poster or even a session. What you can do then is to work backwards from the conference deadlines. Okay, so that really is a major thing in the academic year. If you've never attended a conference, this is a high-pressure situation. You've got deadlines for abstract submissions, preparing presentations, and there's also the whole networking side of things, meeting other scientists. And that's networking for your future. And that's why it's something that I will stress again. I want you to keep in mind, conferences are not just about presenting your research. It's about connecting with other researchers so that you can learn about the latest developments in your field and also getting feedback on your work. But you have to submit, you have to show, you have to present it first before you get some feedback. So to make the most out of those conferences, I want you to plan ahead, and I mean way ahead. So in this semester or the year before, you have to have that in your calendar. Work backward from the conference date. Let's say there's a major conference coming up in 6 months. The first thing that you need to do is, when is the abstract submission deadline? Then you have to reverse engineer. How much time do you need to gather results? How long will it take to analyze your data and write up the abstract? Add in buffer time, because let's be real, things rarely go according to plan. For instance, if your abstract is due in 3 months, aim to have a preliminary data set ready at least a month before that. If you're like me and often feel the crunch before deadlines because life has so much more on the plates than, just the research, I recommend setting a fake deadline at least 2 weeks before the actual submission deadline, and this gives you breathing room for unexpected. Let's pause for a moment to respect those who sponsor this valuable episode. And did you know that we offer deep dive e-course workshops and memberships at graduate schools, maybe also at yours in the future? Ask your graduate school coordinator whether they want to book my services so that I can deliver them to you 24/7, 365 on your mobile device. And even better, if you get us paid by your grad school, we will pay you 50% recurring sales commissions. So you will earn money with us as we help you and your PhD besties to transition into business. We can build a postdoc transformation together. Woohoo! Let's hold that thought, because I want to share with you my time and energy saver. As a professor for industrial and occupational psychology, I also teach about the future of work. And as a former IT strategy consultant, of course I embrace AI to be a future-proof podcast producer of the PostdocTransformation Show and the Creating Reorganize show. Descript is the video and audio podcast editing tool of my choice. I pay for the creator plan, and it's worth every dollar. Descript comes with an integrated professional remote recording studio for the best audio quality for your guests. For example, I record an hour interview with a guest or a solo, and instead of painstakingly doing a rough cut and deleting all the ums and ahs and filler words and rambling around, which I did for hours, I now click on Descript AI, editing for clarity, and my rough cut is done in seconds or a minute. For fine-tuning, I edit text instead of audio waves, and I just insert all my pre-recorded music, intro, ads, and outro, like this one, in a matter of minutes. I can then easily export closed captions, fine-tune AI-driven summaries, chapter markers and titles, which I feed into my show notes and podcast host. Descript even suggests the best clips for social media, and the video editor automatically includes the synchronized speakers' cameras and audio captions. I can also include stock graphics or pre-recorded videos, and you can find all our short-form examples on our Instagram and TikTok at PostdocTransformation. If you want to try out Descript for your own podcast editing, DM or email me Descript so I can share my experience and consult you. Please check it out on my link in the show notes. I only get a small financial reward if you become their customer using my Descript link. Thanking our advertisers for their financial support, we are happy to return to our inspiring episode. Issues. I also already mentioned networking. While you are mapping out your deadlines, also specifically set networking goals for the conference. Who do you want to meet? Which sessions should you prioritize? Make a list and allocate time slots for each. You don't want to go there and don't know what to attend. Consider reaching out to the speakers or attendees in advance. Usually the speakers are already known before the conference, so you can reach out to them and be prepared, obviously. Ask a little bit of their research, ask them a little bit of questions so that you can say, I would love to meet for a brief chat during the event side. You also want to schedule time to prepare your presentation, and don't leave that until the night before. I know this. I've been there, done that. I know that the printer for your poster gives up, or maybe then once you print it out, the poster, then, the diagrams don't look good or whatever. So whatever it is, give yourself ample time to create the poster that you feel comfortable to present. Just in case this is the first time that you go to a conference, you need to have some mock presentation. The goal is to be confident and to be comfortable when you step up to present. Remember, the conferences are gold mines for networking. Set aside time during the event to attend talks, participate in workshops, and most importantly, schedule one-on-one meetings with key people in your field. You have to know who you want to meet. It's not just the researchers, it's also industry partners. Usually, industry partners sponsor a couple of things at a research conference. These are also opportunities for your own career, for your own postdoc transformation. I actually had career-altering conversations during coffee breaks at conferences. So I'm inviting you now to think about your next conference. What are the key milestones you need to hit to be prepared, and how far in advance should you start planning each one? Mark them in your calendar, and not just digitally, but I recommend using a wall calendar on the wall of your colleague. Even if you are working at different places, have it as a one-pager always with you so you can have a look at it while you're working, regardless of the location of your work. If you don't have a calendar for 2025, well, it's about time, and you can head over to our website and download our free postdoc transformation calendar. You can use it to map out your conference deadlines, schedule experience, and plan your presentations. And that's the best thing, if you post a picture of your calendar on social media, we will send you a free postdoc transformation mug to thank you for being part of our community. Woohoo! And as we're talking about networking, you may find our previous episode also helpful for after your PhD. Transform your career with headhunter Daniel Knott from Page Executive, as linked in the show notes. Let's pause for a moment to respect those who sponsor this valuable episode. Before we continue, I want to share with you my #1 lead generator. And you can start that even without a podcast. It's Typeform, and I use them to create free quizzes with open questions and multiple choice answers. I also predefine mandatory answers so I can qualify and score leads, collect their email addresses for later nurturing. I can brand my quizzes with my audio files. branch a given quiz based on the answers for the different target groups, maybe sharing specific podcast episodes or other information, and automatically send them an email after submitting the quiz. I even include a calendar invite for those leads who qualify specifically. So now I can help everyone on the surface and on a deep level for free and divert my own valuable time only to my high-ticket leads. I collect all the data automatically after my initial setup, as I have also integrated it with my remaining tech stack. If you want to try out Typeform for your own lead generation and qualification, DM or email me Typeform so I can share my experience and consult you. Please check it out via my link in the show notes. Again, I only get a small financial reward if you become their customer using my Typeform link. If you want a relatively passive income, creating a paid e-course as your service is a great option, especially if you are like me, an experienced teacher in higher education, and now want to share even more knowledge and maybe also create a paid membership with live group meetings beyond the e-course. Offering an e-course is a no-brainer. Thinkific is an AI-infused learning management system, which is a dream for every educator. After setting up an e-course or membership, you also need to market and sell your e-course, and that's when lead generation with Typeform and podcasting with Descript and Podbean can complement you well. If you want to try out Thinkific for creating your own e-course and membership, DM or email me, Thinkific, so I can share my experience and consult you. Please check it out via my link in the show notes. I only get a small financial reward if you become their customer using my Thinkific link. Thanking our advertisers for their financial support, we are happy to return to our inspiring episode. Now that we've been talking about the year calendar, 2025, or even later, if you listen to this at a later point in time, you have to also know about the power of breaks and holidays. And that really is probably not enough attended in academia. They say holidays are just for the weak, breaks are just for the people who, are underperformers. That really is bad, right? That really is toxic. I know that many PhD students feel that they don't have the time to take breaks. There's always a deadline looming. There's always another experiment to run, another paper to read, another chapter to write. And if you are just a single person without a social life, it really is easy to be sucked into the world of academia and to work long hours and weekends and think that this is normal, but it's not. It's not normal. And especially if you have family already, if you have a spouse who wants to spend time with you, if you have kids who need you, you always have to balance. But here's the truth. Taking breaks is essential for maintaining long-term productivity. The brain, even your brain, can only focus for so long before it starts to lose efficiency. Taking regular breaks helps to maintain your focus, creativity, and problem-solving abilities. And that's not just taking a 5-minute break. It's about structuring your entire year to include time off. With looking at the calendar on your wall, I want you to think about your intentional time off. And it doesn't have to be the luxury vacation that you are probably not able to finance because you are on a PhD stipend or on a scholarship. But during my PhD, I made it a point to align my vacation at least with conferences in exciting locations. Okay, so actually, to be honest, I thought, this conference is in San Francisco. I want to do that. And then I want to extend my vacation in San Francisco. Okay, so that's how I thought about it. That way, I would spend a week or so at the conference and then extend my trip by a few days to explore the area. This way, I got to visit the US and Australia, Sydney, Hobart. And, that gave me a mental rest and a chance to come back to my research with fresh eyes. You need to consider making intentional time off a part of your planning process. You can even schedule a staycation if you want to explore your local area or dedicate a long weekend. Okay, so that's maybe going elsewhere, but you can use the internet to work remotely, but that's already something that helps you to recharge your battery, allowing your mind the space to innovate and reflect. I live in Europe. I live in Germany. I love doing a staycation in one of those bungalow parks, recreational parks, where you can stay in a flat with your friends and maybe set aside 4 hours or 2 hours or whatever every morning to work on your research, to read and do something, but also spend the time at the beach, cycling, whatever you want to do, right? You can just schedule a long few weekends or mini breaks that can make a difference. And it depends on the bank holiday schedule in your year. I would always look at those, how you can make the most out of those bank holidays. You'd be surprised how much more productive you can be after a few holidays, stepping away from the lab. Let's pause for a moment to respect those who sponsor this valuable episode. Hey, I'm back again. So far, you have learned all my favorite marketing and sales tools. Now, how can you bring all the data from your audience, leads, and clients together so you can serve them on a value ladder and for the long term? Even after multiple touchpoints with you, you want to remain on their mind for when they are ready to buy your service or product. I am expanding my digital business, and I use ActiveCampaign as the centerpiece for all my services like email course, podcast, newsletter, show notes, websites, sales page, merch shop, forms, whatever it is as needed. As a former IT strategy consultant, I have high requirements on my tech stack, and ActiveCampaign offers so many integrations to all my other apps. I really use it daily. If you want to create your own digital business with various AI-driven lead magnets and funnel options, DM or email me, ActiveCampaign, so I can share my experience and consult you. Please check it out via my link in the show notes. I only get a small financial reward if you become their customer using my ActiveCampaign link. After this quick appreciation of our sponsors, we are now back in our insightful episode. And on a smaller scale, think about your daily schedule. Are you taking breaks during your workday? And that's where I always recommend sort of like a weekly plan. That week is full of teaching duties in the beginning of the week, and later on you can focus on your research or something like that. You have to cluster and batch your tasks to be productive because you want to avoid switching back and forth. It's easier to have a teaching day or 2 teaching days and 3 research days, something like that. So my question to you is, when was the last time you took a meaningful break? How did you feel when you returned to work? And can you benefit from scheduling more frequent breaks, both daily and again, just a reminder, download our PostdocTransformation calendar and make sure that you're scheduling in breaks as well as deadlines. It's one thing to plan for work, but don't forget also to rest. And I've already mentioned the worth and the importance of mental health. And I just want to remind you on one episode that we did, why being authentic in your job search saves your mental health. Because I already distinguished between the people who are single and have no other obligations in their life. Obviously, they can work if they want to. It's still not healthy, but they at least have the time to work. 100%, 150%, whatever they want to do. It's still not healthy. But if you have other obligations in your life, then you need to be also authentic about that when you are talking to recruiters about a specific role, whether it's a remote flexible work, or if it's, 100% on premise and you won't be able to make it because you still have the time that you have to dedicate for other things in your life. Okay, so I want you to be honest with yourself. So this way you can have breathing time and you can exhale and you can reduce your stress. I want to shift gears and talk about how to learn from those who've already walked the path you're on, right? So we're talking about role models. One of the best things that I did during my PhD was to observe senior researchers in my field. And I, was like, don't want to end up like them. Don't want to end up like her. She's doing it great, whatever it is. So there were things that I was able to pick up and emulate. And I have my own idea of how I want to become a researcher, etc. And when I was observing them, I also asked them questions. And sometimes those questions did not need to be answered because I saw how they did it. But I wanted to essentially know how they managed their time, dealt with setbacks, maintained a healthy work-life balance, and their experiences are invaluable. You can also then choose to apply their strategies, or some at least, to your own life. So the question I want you to answer for yourself is, who are the role models in your field? Is there a professor or a researcher whose career you admire, where you think this is something that I want to have for myself as well? Reach out to them for advice and also mentorship, because, most people are more than willing to share the insights if you approach them respectfully. I want you to know that in this Postdoc Transformation Show, for the scientists leaping into business, I have already interviewed more than 25 role models that potentially can inspire you for different facets of their career and what they did for their own postdoc transformation. For the ones in your vicinity, in your lab, in the lab next door, so to speak, consider asking if you can shadow them for a day. This could be a great opportunity to see firsthand how they organize their day, tackle challenges, and you should not be afraid to ask about their failures as well as their successes. Usually people love to share about the successes. There's always an insight about reflecting on the failures, and learning how they overcame their challenges and obstacles can provide you with the invaluable insights you need to navigate your own challenges. You might also consider forming a peer mentoring group that's like your PhD besties, right? Fellow PhD students who have the same challenges and have to face them in the same time. Because I have to say, 10 years ago, it was different. Pre-COVID, it was different, etc. So what you can do with your PhD besties is you can regularly meet to discuss challenges, share resources, and also hold each other accountable, or have a supportive environment, right? Sometimes you need to have someone kick your... And that's probably the PhD bestie that can do that best. Now I want you to reflect on who can you reach out for mentorship, and what specific questions do you want to ask them about managing academic life, maybe even parts of, personal life, not private, but personal life. Okay, and if you don't know what to ask, check out also our postdoc transformation card game, because there I have for each target group that could be a mentor for you, questions that you can ask them so that you can sort of like have a great and fruitful mentoring relationship. Before we continue, we want to appreciate those who finance this valuable episode for you. Quick appreciation of your business. Are you wondering when and where you can get the attention of your audience? You always think you don't have the time to post on multiple social media platforms. I totally get you. I have been enjoying weeks of social media breaks while I serve my audience with prepared content to be scheduled out as needed. Ideally, you have just derived countless social media content from your one video podcast episode. But even without a podcast, with Later, you can create and schedule your own social media content in advance, according to the best posting times based on your followers. If you want to schedule your content on social media, DM or email me later so I can share my experience and consult you. Please check it out via my link in the show notes. Again, I only get a small financial reward if you become their customer using my later link. Hey postdoc transformer, are you curious to ask professors, principal investigators, visiting scientists, postdocs, PhD students, and candidates some in-depth life and career guiding questions? But it feels cringe, so you end up not asking? Buy our postdoc transformation card game to have more fun and valuable insights in your journal club, lab, and mentoring meetings, lab rotations, during conferences, panels, and breaks at the Mensa. You'll get 10 intriguing mentoring questions per career level. So 10 for PhD students, 10 for postdocs, 10 for professors, 10 for parental scientists, underprivileged and underrepresented and underserved scientists. Check them out with our discount coupon on the Postdoc Transformation shop, linked on PostdocTransformation.com. Thanking our advertisers for their financial support, we are happy to return to our inspiring episode. Okay, now we've been talking a lot of things so that you can reorganize for your own postdoc transformation, how you can reorganize your life, your next year, your next semester, your quarter, your week, maybe, and even your day. But I also have a couple of mini tips or mini bonus tips. You can let us know on social media, then on which we shall expand for a future episode of the Postdoc Transformation Show in Season 6. Number 1, time management tools like the Pomodoro technique, time blocking and tracking, or the Eisenhower matrix to help you manage your academic tasks effectively. Also, number 2, setting SMART goals so that you remember to set specific, measurable, achievable, relevant, and time-bound goals aligned with your own research and personal development beyond the PhD. Number 3, creating a productive workspace, which is a dedicated and organized workspace at your lab and in your home to, at the end of the semester, it is a great time to throw away things that hold you back in the next coming semester. So you need to reserve time and to celebrate decluttering and optimizing your workspace for focus and creativity to boost your postdoc transformation according to your vision of life. Then number 4 is balancing personal life and academic responsibilities. We already talked about that. And as you are growing up as an adult, you need to explore strategies to maintain a healthy work-life balance, especially for those who have a family or planning a family and other commitments. Every new semester may come with a new school schedule for your own children and work obligations for your partner. And I'm telling you, it's even easier when the children are very little, because once they're in school, you also have to adhere external schedules. They cannot change. Check all your resources and seek external help that prevents burnout, and that allows you to finish your PhD in a timely manner so you can have your postdoc transformation according to your vision of life. I want to remind you on 2 episodes that we did regarding career and family, how to become satisfied with your children and your career, as linked in the show notes. Number 5, you need to also leverage technology for productivity. You know me by now, probably. I have always been tech-affine, so I can only encourage you to streamline your research process. You need to use reference managers, collaborative tools, or speed up your literature research and learning with AI tools, okay? You are your own project manager, so level up learning and capitalizing on suitable tools for project management to keep track of tasks and deadlines. And number 6, mindfulness and mental health. Again, that's one of the core topics that we have already discussed in one of the previous episodes. Maybe you need to do combat sports, maybe you are a runner, whatever your thing is, maybe you are a dancer. You can always learn to be mindful and self-compassionate for yourself so that you reduce your own stress and improve your focus on your postdoc transformation. Number 7, networking strategies beyond conferences. We're talking about conferences, but networking is not limited to physical on-premise meetings, right? I cannot stress enough that you must network online through platforms like LinkedIn or other academic social networks like ResearchGate or whatever. Especially if you want to leap into business, you cannot sleep on LinkedIn. Connect with me and also my other Postdoc Transformation Show guests, as they are your role models in how they were leaping from science into everywhere in business and industries. You can also enroll in our free email course, Career Transition Made Simple, as we've also focused on the major points to up your LinkedIn game as a scientist leaping into business. Or even staying in academia, showcasing your science communication skills. And when I'm talking about science communication, I also want you to listen to the previous episode with PhD SciComm, where we were talking about how you can up your game in science communication. Remember, you are a postdoc transformer. You are highly intelligent, well-educated, a bachelor, master, and maybe you have already your doctor under your belt, or you are a postdoc. You are internationally experienced, fluent in English, a leader and expert in your prior research field. You're resilient, brilliant in adaptation and problem solving. You are eager to bring in the transferable and monetizable skills needed in many companies to embrace the future and to become or remain an innovator in their markets. Have you found this episode so far helpful for yourself? Well, maybe you can subscribe on YouTube, Spotify, Apple Podcasts, Podbean, or wherever you get our show. And also share this episode with your PhD bestie, because that would encourage us to help the underprivileged, underrepresented, and underserved early career scientists leaping into business. This would also ensure that you don't miss a future episode. Also, our subscription and listening numbers are key for finding the right sponsors for our show so that we can help you for free. And now, back to the show. And then, number 8, you need to have friendly people who give you feedback in a way that you can use that to improve your work. And feedback is really important. You probably won't be able to make it without it. You need to find well-intending PhD besties or people who are open to share because of their experience, okay? That could be mentors, people in your lab. Just be careful who you ask. And I have to be honest, I hated my journal club times because I learned how to tear down a discussed paper. But it doesn't have to be that toxic. Giving constructive feedback really is something that you can do empathetically. And that is really a leadership skill that you can learn, and which will also be your superpower when you leap into business. The way how you give feedback to them will determine whether they want to follow you or not. If people want to work with you and for you, as you lead them into their future of work, they will be your wind beneath your wings for your own postdoc transformation according to your vision of life. So giving feedback is really a skill that you need to, not in a toxic way. And I don't know whether academia is the best surrounding for that. Number 9, adapting to remote work. I already dropped that. Let's be honest. There are individual challenges and strategies for maintaining productivity while working remotely, especially in a post-pandemic world, okay? I always tell my students, when you're working from home with 2 kids that need to be catered, that need to be attended, that's not working from home. That should be not considered as working. I can work 100% remotely, like now, with my kids at school. But if they're running around here in my household, I cannot be, attending 100% of my brain to be productive, to be most productive. So you need to be able to plan and schedule times where you can work 100%, also remote. Okay, so you need to be flexible to maximize the outcome of your work. And there are arguments for and against online collaboration, virtual conferences, versus, working together in the lab. Reflect on those and advocate for yourself. No one will do that. If you do not advocate for yourself, no one will help you. That also requires that you know how you can work best, remotely or in the lab, during a specific time. You know what's working out for you. Number 10, learning from failures. I really had countless setbacks in my life and work. If you think that I'm just successful, I'm not. I'm always here because I had learning opportunities that I capitalized on because I did some errors. I did some failures. They made me resilient and helped me to come back faster and stronger. I openly share my social media failures on Instagram and TikTok with my handles, Professor Dr. Eleonore, and also PostdocTransformation, because I hope that my students will see and that they can embrace failure like me to learn more. And number 11, you need to develop a personal brand. Cultivate a professional identity as a scientist that reflects your research and your career aspirations as a professor, but also as someone who wants to leap into business. You can use social media to do that. I think that once you understand the power of science communication, that is already part of your personal brand. And if you want to know a little bit more about that, why you should be active on social media, we actually do have an episode that is called Top Reasons to be Active on Social Media as a Scientist, as we have linked in the show notes. Obviously, our show is called PostdocTransformation. So number 12 is transitioning from academia to industry. So learn business-related skills while you earn your PhD. I cannot stress enough this last point. You have to do it while you earn your PhD. It's really harder to transfer academic skills to industry roles and selling them to a recruiter when you already have a PhD under your belt without any business or industry experience. Every headhunter, every recruiter would ask, why now? What happened? Why don't you want to work in academia anymore? Make it easy and learn business-relevant leadership skills, project management skills, financial skills. And by the way, they will also help you as a professor or director of a research institute. All right, postdoc transformers, we have covered a lot today, from aligning your research with your teaching, working backward from conference deadlines, and embracing the power of breaks, to learning from senior models. I think these big strategies can fundamentally shift how you approach your academic life. Remember, reorganizing your academic life isn't just about productivity, it's about creating a sustainable balance that allows you to thrive as a researcher, a scientist, and, a human being. So what's one step that you can do today to start reorganizing your academic life? Maybe it's reaching out to a mentor or scheduling your next break, whatever it is. I'd love to hear about it. Share your thoughts on social media, drop us a message through our website, and download our free calendar, print it out, and remember to take a picture when it's hanging on your wall in your lab. That will really make our day. Thank you for joining us today. We are excited to see how you will implement these strategies in your journey towards your postdoc transformation according to your vision of life. Do you want a transcript of our episode? And our episode sponsors answers to all 6 bold questions so that you can choose to apply. Do you want to nominate your potential employer of choice so that we can ask them our bold questions? For all of that, click on our links in our show notes and on our website, www.postdoctransformation.com. Remember to check your readiness to leap out of science and to enroll in our free email course, Career Transition Made Simple. Thanks for your attention. I'm Professor Dr. Eleonore Soei-Winkels, the host of your seasonal Postdoc Transformation Show. Postdoc Transformation.
Have you ever wondered how to make your grad school stand out in the crowded landscape of academia? Do you aim to attract the best master students from all over the world to learn from and work with your professors so that your research remains globally recognized and well-funded? Do you wish to repel bad applications which aren't tailored towards your grad school's research profile? Now, let's talk about a powerful branding tool, podcasts. They're a game changer for higher education institutions. As a professor, active on TikTok, Instagram, LinkedIn, and a podcast host and producer of this Postdoc Transformation Show, I'm here to encourage all the graduate school representatives to think beyond the conventional marketing mechanism. Instead of being one of many vendors at a time-limited grad school fair, why not create a podcast that showcases your grad school as the ultimate destination for the world's best master's students? Share inspiring and encouraging stories of your top PhD students, high-profile alumni, your faculty, and the incredible opportunities your grad school offers. A podcast can be a window into your school's vibrant community, its cutting-edge research, and unique experiences. And in times of AI-generated marketing material, a podcast with your academic leaders in real life is a very human and innovative way to attract prospective PhD students. You can inform them every day, everywhere, not just during the typical grad school application seasons. This would prepare your best candidates for the application. Even better, you can support and make your current PhD students and postdocs visible for their next career steps in academia or business. Remember, successful graduates elevate your grad school's reputation. So, if you are a university chancellor, grad school dean, speaker, consider this. By launching a podcast for your grad school, you can elevate your grad school's brand and tell aspiring scientists and employers what makes your grad school the best choice, with scalable, evergreen content. If you're interested, forward this to your marketing representative and get our list of 30 sample episode titles customizable for your grad school podcast, and just enter an email address on my website www.postdoctransformation.com as linked in the show notes. As a seasoned professor and podcaster, I'm also happy to strategize about how you can launch your grad school podcast on Podbean, the podcast hosting platform we use for the Postdoc Transformation Show, supporting scientists leaping into business.